Hi, everyone. I am Jessica from Afro-Vegan Society, and welcome to the final day of Veguary 2021. This month has been filled with so many vegan resources to help you go vegan, or if you're already vegan, find some inspiration, some new meals, and also learn about Black vegan trailblazers in this space in celebration of Black History Month. So today I thought I would end it off with a very special cooking demo, and I am going to be recreating a vegan version of a restaurant dish. So this cooking demo is in partnership with Default Veg. Default Veg is an organization that is working to make vegan options the default in our society. So in schools, on campuses, in hospitals, and at restaurants. So that was what inspired me to take a look at Cheesecake Factory's menu and see what I could recreate. So read a few lists of different types of, menu items that they had and people ranking their favorite ones. And this one ranked near the top multiple times. And this is their Louisiana Chicken Pasta, but I'm making a vegan Louisiana Chicken Pasta and I'm using lots of cool products. So I get to show you some great vegan alternatives to make this dish simple and easy, something you can enjoy at home. Of course, we will want Cheesecake Factory to offer this vegan dish on their menu, but I will say when I was looking at their menu, there are quite a few plant-based options and vegetarian options that could be made vegan if you just remove the cheese or the sour cream or things like that. So I was pleasantly surprised to see how many options there were on their menu, but their menu is huge. So they should have a decent amount of vegan options, but we're working so that one day the majority of the options are vegan. And so here's a little inspiration for you while you're cooking at home as you explore some vegan menu options that you can make and products that you can use to create some of your favorite restaurant dishes at home if you're maybe missing some of the flavors and meals that you used to enjoy eating out. So we are going to prepare this dish in 3 stages. This is, like I said, the Louisiana chicken pasta, the vegan Louisiana chicken pasta. So there's obviously the chicken component. There is a creamy sauce that goes on it. There's pasta. Actually, I think that's it. So it shouldn't be that hard. So what we're going to start off by doing is going through some of our ingredients. So this is like a creamy sauce. It has Parmesan cheese. They use heavy cream. We're not using any animal products today. This is 100% dairy-free, animal product-free, and vegan. So this dish uses farfalle pasta or bow tie pasta. So we are going to be using a half pound of this. And of course, I will be providing a full written recipe, and I'm only making a half batch today because the recipe that I created serves 4. So I'm going to show you how to prepare for 2 live, but the written instructions will show you how to prepare for 4. So like I said, we're starting off with some farfalle or bow tie pasta that's already been boiled and is sitting on a pot back here. Next up, we have vegan Parmesan cheese. So I used BioLife's vegan Parmesan block. It's called Just Like Parmesan, but you grate it yourself and the texture and the flavor are spot on. So this is going to be great for making all kinds of vegan recipes, including things like pesto. But yes, we're going to be using it to coat our vegan chicken fillets and also in our creamy sauce. So I grated up about 3/4 cup of this Parmesan, and I'm going to show you how I use it. We're also going to be using some vegan butter. We are using Miyoko's butter. This is my favorite vegan butter personally. It's cultured. It tastes like the real thing to me. It's delicious. You can use it so many different ways. But we're going to be sauteing our veggies for our pasta in this. We're also using Simply Eggless. So Simply Eggless is one of our giveaway donors for Veguary. So today is the last day to enter any of the giveaways that we are hosting related to Veguary, including Simply Eggless. You can win a 3-pack of their egg replacement product. It's something that you refrigerate and keep in the fridge. And about, 3 tablespoons replace 1 egg. So we're going to be using the equivalent of 2 eggs. So 6 tablespoons of this when we make our coating for our vegan chicken batter again. We've got some chopped up rainbow bell peppers. We've got some Gardein chicken scallopini. So these are vegan chicken fillets that we have here. And this is a soy-based vegan meat alternative. So super convenient. Find it in the freezer section. But yes, this is what we'll be using to replace chicken in our dish today. I've got some minced garlic, diced onion. I've got some sliced cremini mushrooms or sliced brown button mushrooms. I have a homemade Cajun seasoning. So I will be sharing the write-up for this as well, but this is just a blend of paprika, garlic, onions, salt, thyme, oregano, and some chili flakes. And it is going to add so much flavor to this dish. Now, to make our creamy sauce in the original dish, they probably use something like heavy cream. And I wanted to incorporate some more plants into this recipe. Even though it's definitely a comfort food dish, it's going to be on the richer side, I still wanted to, get some plants in. So I'm going to be using 10 ounces of steamed cauliflower florets. Now, you could also just use a bag of frozen cauliflower and let it thaw and rinse it off, and then it's ready to blend. But yeah, this is a really convenient thing that's going to add some body and, create the nice thick base for our creamy sauce. I'm also going to be using 1/4 cup of raw cashews. You could also use cashew butter. You could use almond milk, but I'm using raw cashews just because it's going in the blender anyway, so why not use them? And then to season that up, we're also going to be using a teaspoon of Better Than bouillon. Now, the recipe that I found that I kind of based my vegan version off of, they use chicken broth. And so Better Than bouillon is a great brand because they do have a vegan chicken broth concentrate, a vegan beef broth concentrate, but today I'm using the seasoned vegetable one. I just love the flavor of it. It's really rich. It's really deep. And so we're going to be using this in our sauce as well. So I've said, everything that's in my kitchen. No, it's not everything in my kitchen, but it's a lot of ingredients here. So we're going to start off with sauteing. We're going to get our veggies going because that's probably going to, take the most time throughout the cooking process. So I'm going to turn my skillet on to medium heat, and I have 2 tablespoons of Miyoko's vegan butter in the pan already. And I am just going to let that melt down. And while that melts down, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the onions and garlic. So as this pan heats up, the butter will melt down and the garlic and onion will begin to saute. And we just want it to saute until it becomes translucent and fragrant. And then once we get to that stage, I'll start adding in our mushrooms and our bell peppers. But while that cooks, I think it's best to next go ahead and get started with making our vegan chicken breaded fillets for this dish. So this is pretty simple. Basically, you need 2 bowls. So the first bowl, we're just going to put in, like I said, about 4 to 6 tablespoons of this Simply Eggless vegan liquid egg replacement. So I put in about 4 to 6 tablespoons of that. And then in this bowl, I have 1/4 cup of flour and, I have 2 tablespoons of flour and 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. So we're starting off with that. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in about 1/4 cup of this shredded, maybe just 2 tablespoons, about 2 tablespoons of this shredded vegan Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of our Cajun seasoning, 1 generous teaspoon. So now I'm just going to mix all these ingredients together for our dry mix. And you just want the spices to be well combined, the flour to be coating everything. All right. So everything is well combined here. Okay. So now it's time to go ahead and bread our vegan chicken fillets. So let's move some stuff out of the way. So we have a pan here lined with parchment paper. Now, if you've watched my cooking demos, you know that I prefer to oven fry or bake as opposed to frying things in the pan, just because I think it's a little bit more foolproof. It uses less oil, and it gives you time to focus on whatever you got going on the stovetop while this is cooking in the oven. So I'm going to use that same strategy today, and I'm going to take our chicken scallopini, and basically we're just going to dredge in the dry, dip into our vegan egg, and then go back into the dry on both sides till it's nice and coated. And what we should do first is we're also going to spray this baking dish or baking sheet with some cooking oil spray. So this is not oil free, but it is dramatically reduced oil. And our butter is melting and things are beginning to sizzle over here, which is perfect. So this is what the Gardein vegan chicken scallopini look like. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried them before and how you like to use them. But yeah, I'm just going to coat them. And sometimes it helps to just sprinkle the dry mix over top. It helps it to cling because the flour kind of clings to the bottom of the bowl. So when you pick it up and sprinkle it on top, it kind of attaches to the damp surface of our vegan chicken fillet here. So now I'm going to go ahead and dip it into our vegan egg mixture and flip it over. I hope you can see that. So that's clinging very nicely. And now we're going to go right back on in to our dry mix with the breadcrumbs and the vegan parmesan and the Creole seasoning and the flour. We're just going to dip that around and get that very nicely coated on all sides, including the edges. And then once that's looking good, let's press it in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to lay that down. And I see this is sizzling, so I'm just going to move my onions and garlic around a little bit. Make sure that's evenly distributed. Okay. Turn that heat down just a little bit more. And now we're going to do our second fillet. So with these, I let them thaw on the counter for about an hour before I use them because they are pretty firm. That makes them a little bit more difficult to work with when they're too firm. But these are nice because they're pre-seasoned. So you don't have to like marinate this. Like, for example, if you wanted to make this recipe with tofu or cauliflower, I would suggest that you season it with the Cajun seasoning for a while, at least 30 minutes to an hour, just to help that penetrate into the core of whatever you're using. But this is nice because it's pre-seasoned. But if you don't want to do a processed thing like this, like I said, you have options of using things like tofu or cauliflower would be a great idea to do instead. So, and if you're looking for inspiration of how to use cauliflower in this, you can check out my crispy country fried cauliflower recipe on the Afro-Vegan Society blog. And you can basically just swap in a few ingredients and swap others out, and you'll be able to adapt it pretty well. So once again, we are just dipping our vegan chicken fillet right on in here. And now we're just going to set it on into our coating one more time and just flip it on over and get every single side coated with this delicious, flavorful breading. Okay, so that looks great. I'm going to also lay that one down. And then what we're going to do, I need to wipe my hand off. All right, so got the messy part over early, so that's good. I won't be getting my hands this messy again in this cooking demo. So now that this is done, we have our two breaded vegan chicken fillets. And what I'm going to do is, just like I did with the base, I'm going to take this cooking oil spray and spray it all over. So you want to get on the top. I mean, you don't need to go crazy, but just make sure you get the top and the sides. And then just like that, we're going to put this into a preheated 425 degree oven for about 25 minutes. And then you want to flip it over after about 15 minutes. And this is going to get a beautiful golden brown crust on the outside. And because it's vegan, we're not really worried about it cooking through. It's already cooked through. So you just need to bake it off, pull it out of the oven after 25 minutes. And after you flipped it, and then just let it, sit for like a minute or two, just so the vegan chicken can firm up and get the right texture. And when it's done, we have these beautiful golden brown fillets. So these are the fillets that we will be using to top off our pasta. So super duper simple to make that coating and breading. So we will come back to that once we get finished. And our garlic and onion have been cooking up nicely, very nicely here. So let me move a few items out of the way. Okay, so let's see. Just trying to create a little bit more space so you all can see what's happening in our pan a little bit better. All right, so we're going to slide this on down. And even at a reduced temperature, our garlic and onions have, caramelized and tenderized very nicely. They smell very aromatic and fragrant. This is going to be a source of a lot of great flavor. And our garlic is even starting to slightly brown. So there's no shame in reducing your heat a lot, especially if you're doing something else, because in the midst of that, it's better to just, still have a little bit more time to go as opposed to burning your garlic and your onions. If your garlic and onions are burnt, your whole dish is going to be burnt tasting. So, all right, so we have our bell peppers in, and I'm also going to go ahead and put in our mushrooms. So this is 8 ounces of cremini mushrooms, and I use mini bell peppers, but I basically use the equivalent of one large bell pepper and sliced it up into chunks. So I'm actually going to crank the heat up on this now because the bell peppers and the mushrooms are going to release quite a bit of liquid. So we want that to go ahead and release. Get everything coated in the flavorings here. And I think what I'm going to do, just because we want there to be levels of flavor at every layer of this dish, is I'm going to add in just about a quarter teaspoon of this Cajun seasoning. So we've used it on our vegan chicken fillets, in the breading. We are now using it just a kiss of it, just a little bit, in our sauteed vegetables that's going to go in the pasta. Also, there's just some salt in the Cajun seasoning, and so that will help the peppers and the onions to release their water, and that will go ahead and evaporate out a lot quicker once it's released. So saute that up nicely. Okay. All right, so we've got our peppers and onions going here on medium-high heat. They're going to release quite a bit of water and cook down. And while they do that, I'm going to go ahead and put our creamy sauce together for our pasta. So everything is going into the blender. And let's see, so we can make sure that you get a good view of the blender. All right, so here's my blender. And what we're going to do is add in our cashews. We're going to go ahead and add in our cauliflower. These cauliflower chunks are a little bit big though, so let me break these up a bit. We want this to get as smooth as possible. Yes. All right, so we got our cashews. We've got our cauliflower in the bowl. Let's see, now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of our Creole seasoning. So it's going to inject a lot of flavor into this creamy sauce to make our Louisiana vegan chicken pasta. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of the the vegetable Better Than Bouillon broth concentrate. And this does have salt in it, so just be mindful. There is some salt in the Creole seasoning. There's some salt in this. So, and there's also some salt in the vegan Parmesan cheese shreds. So, we're being very moderate with the addition of salt throughout because it's already incorporated into a lot of the ingredients that we're using. But that's just something to be mindful of. They do have low sodium options, and just be aware of what choices you can make to reduce sodium in your diet if that's something that you're trying to do. And the mushrooms and peppers are starting to release their liquids very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and crank the heat all the way up. so that this can cook down even more. So the nice thing about using cauliflower and cashews in this creamy sauce also is that some other recipes that I've seen, typically when you're making like a creamy white sauce like this, people tend to make a roux or add cornstarch, but the cashews and the cauliflower are going to add some really nice body. And so this will be a naturally thickened sauce, and we don't have to add anything else or do any extra steps of, creating a roux and thickening that way. It'll already be nice and thick from what we're adding in. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in our water. I'm going to add in about half of the water. Just because sometimes I find that when I add a whole bunch of water at once into the blender, the particles kind of just float around a little bit, and it takes longer for everything to get nice and smooth. So I'm going to add in some of the water now, blend it up until it gets into a nice thick puree, and then I'm going to add in our remaining vegan Parmesan cheese and the rest of our water. Okay. All right, so that's already getting really nice and smooth. Now I'm going to add in our remaining, every time I look at the pan, might as well move things around a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to add in the remaining Parmesan cheese. Oops. And I'm also going to add in a squeeze of lemon juice. Okay, and I'm actually going to do a taste test at this point too, just to see how everything's going. Okay. All right, see what happens. I'm going to add a bit more water. So this is about 2.5 cups of water, and I think I'm going to stop around the 2-cup mark. Okay. Okay, so usually I find counting to like 30 Mississippi, sometimes 60, 30 full seconds, 60 full seconds. I can get a really nice smooth blend. So let's see what we're doing here. It's really nice flavor. Let's taste this too. I'm trying to decide if I need to add any more salt. So I'm tasting these vegetables that the sauce is about to go into. Okay. So I can see this is going to need some more salt, but I'm going to go ahead and add our creamy sauce in with our veggies. I'm going to add about half of it. Okay. And we still get this heat, have this heat nice and high. Okay, and that cooled the pan right on down. It was really sizzling there. But now that our cauliflower cashew creamy sauce blend is in here, things have calmed down right away. Okay, that's looking really good. Taste. The flavors on that are super nice. And the texture is really, really nice as well. I think you could use some more flavor though. I was trying to decide if I should use sea salt or the Cajun seasoning, and I think it needs some more Cajun seasoning. So I'm going to add in another half teaspoon. Okay. And try to get the last bit of juice out of this lemon. And this is the very beginnings of a simmer happening here. So I'm going to let that get going. And it's kind of loose right now, but I think it's going to continue to thicken up once the Parmesan cheese that's in here starts to get activated by the heat. So we do want this to reduce a bit and become thicker. So let's taste that one more time to see if that did it or if it still needs a little bit of salt. Okay. Some people would stop here. It's mild. It could definitely use more salt, but this is the part of the recipe that usually says salt to taste. So you want to just be very gradual about adding in additional salt. But I'm also keeping in mind basically how the flavors in this dish are going to balance out, because I have the pasta back there that was not cooked in any salt, but I also have the vegan chicken fillets that are very flavorful and I think are sufficiently salted. So I don't want to go crazy, right? So yes, salt to taste is super important. I'm actually going to pinch this in. I would say this is close to like an 1/8 teaspoon. And I think it could have a bit of a stronger cheesy flavor. So I'm going to grate in some more of this vegan Parmesan as well. So far in this recipe, I've used about 3/4 cup. I think I'm going to grate about another 1/4 cup of this into the pan. So let me grab my grater. And we're just going to go straight in with it. Isn't this so cool that we have vegan cheese now that you can just grate like regular Parmesan? I love that there are so many awesome vegan cheese options out there now that we can use to enjoy some of our favorite dishes, but make them plant-based so they're healthier and they're better for the environment. They're kinder to the planet. They're kinder to animals. Okay. And BioLife is definitely one of my favorite vegan cheese brands for sure. I think their cheeses are pretty affordable and they have a great variety. So I like BioLife. Let me know what some of your favorite vegan cheese brands are in the comments. Okay. So yes, this is already thickening up really nicely. I just really want this to come up to a full simmer. That's really what I'm waiting for. I just want to see some bubbles. And then once I see some bubbles, I'm going to throw the pasta in here. Okay, so since we are waiting for our sauce to come to a simmer, I'm going to go ahead and slice up our breaded vegan chicken fillets to get those ready to top off our pasta once everything's all done. So let's grab those. And I'm just going to slice them into strips because that's what it looks like in the photos to me. So I've actually never had this dish before, but I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the flavor profile. So I think we're going to make something super delicious today. And I'm looking forward to trying it. And I hope you all give this a try as well. especially on those days when you're craving something like, more takeout or restaurant style meal. You can see we are 31 minutes into this demo so far. So this is going to be done in under 45 minutes. So it does not take long at all. And let me show you these vegan chicken strips. Yeah, they look great. Let me taste one. That coating is delicious. It has a nice crunch. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really, really good. So yes, here we have our vegan breaded chicken strips for our pasta, and they are made with a delicious coating with Parmesan cheese, breadcrumbs, and they were crispy, nice and crispy, baked in the oven. So no sauteing necessary, no deep oil frying, just a little bit of cooking oil spray and some time in the oven. And when they set, the texture is perfect. So our sauce is bubbling, so that means it's time to go ahead and add in our bow tie pasta or our farfalle. And when I made this, because I knew it was going to be sitting, I cooked it just a minute less than suggested on the package because I knew it was going to come up to heat in the sauce. And I also wanted to be able to leave a little bit of the pasta water in the pan so that the pasta didn't stick together too much as I was waiting to add it into this sauce. Because more so it's ideal to be like cooking your pasta fresh. But, this worked out just fine. So now I'm just going to gently move this around and coat this. And the goal is just to get our noodles evenly coated, our veggies evenly distributed in here, and bring everything up to a nice warm temperature so that we can go ahead and serve. And it's definitely thickening up really, really nicely. So just a little bit of time, allowing that sauce to reduce in the liquid over the heat. And like I said, the Parmesan cheese, as it heated up in this sauce, the vegan Parmesan, it's definitely thickening the sauce as well. So there's no need to make a roux. There's no need to add any cornstarch or anything like that, depending on how thick you like your sauce. I still like my sauce to be a little glossy. I don't like it too caked together. So this has some nice slip, but it's clinging to the noodles really well also. All right, so this is amazing. All right, so here we go. I think it's time to start plating. So I have this nice dish here. And actually, before I plate, one last thing before I plate. I have some parsley here that I chopped up for garnish, but I'm actually going to add about half of it into the sauce as it just finishes heating through because I think it's going to add some beautiful color and some nice flavor just by being slightly warm. Adds freshness to a dish. And this is a pretty rich dish with all the Parmesan and the creamy sauce and the breaded chicken. So we just want to incorporate elements and notes of freshness when we can to balance out all of our flavors. And that's the same reason I was squeezing in the lemon juice to our sauce mixture as well, just to add in some brightness and some freshness to balance out all of the richness and the decadence that we have going on. Okay, that looks absolutely lovely. So I'm grabbing my spoon. I feel like I'm using every dish in my house for this demo, but grabbing my spoon. Here we go in my bowl. And just plate this up really nice. So pretty. And it smells so good. And because I've been tasting as I go, I know that it tastes really good, but I'm excited to try everything once it's all together as well. So, okay, I think that's enough pasta. So, like I said, this is 2 servings technically. This is a lot of pasta. I think this is more like 3 to 4 servings, but if you can eat this much, more power to you. I would love to serve this up with like some steamed asparagus or steamed broccoli or maybe some salad, but we're going to go with this right here. And also it's kind of easy to forget how many vegetables are in this dish because we use 10 ounces of cauliflower in the sauce. We have 8 ounces of mushrooms. We have bell pepper, garlic, and onion. So it really is packed with veggies. So Let me get some more of these veggies on the plate actually as well. Just some more mushrooms and peppers because they look beautiful. Okay, so we got that in. Now let's get our chicken strips on top. And then let's top this off with some parsley. Looking good. And I think I want to do just a little bit more Parmesan just to make it extra special. Our vegan Parmesan by BioLife. And that looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like a restaurant dish. And so I'm going to come on up so you can see what it's looking like. Okay. So let's see. Can you see? So here we have our delicious, creamy, vegan Louisiana style pasta. Let me see if I can focus on the dish. Okay. Yes, so here we have this delicious, creamy, vegan Louisiana chicken pasta made with gardein. We have some Yoko's butter. We have some delicious BioLife cheese. And we made a delicious, rich, decadent sauce from cauliflower and cashews. So it is possible to continue to enjoy some of your favorite restaurant dishes, but make them 100% vegan. And so I just want to encourage you to continue to explore menus that you love and find new ways to innovate dishes that are going to leave you satisfied and enjoying some delicious comfort food. And thanks to Default Veg for partnering with us to host this final cooking demo for Veguary. We thank everyone so much for participating. We hope you've been entering our giveaways and that you've learned some new information. You've been able to get support from our Facebook community and that you're feeling encouraged and equipped to go ahead and continue this vegan lifestyle. And we will be in touch with more info very, very soon. And we also ask that you take some time to fill out our feedback survey when the link goes out. So thanks again for watching. It's been so fun cooking with you all this month. And I will see you again with a new delicious recipe very soon. Bye, everybody.